News Panorama is a TV news magazine program that gives you the story behind the story.
It tells the stories the way they should be told, by capturing the larger scale.
It deals with people's deep feelings on issues that, when brought to the fore, ultimately educates, informs and entertains.
News Panorama. Capture the larger scale.
This week on News Panorama, we take a look at the Nigerian Naira exchange rates, street children and the need to reunite them with their families, electricity supply and its impact on the economy, Eid el Fitri and domestic violence. Welcome and thanks for joining me on the program News Panorama. I am Josephine Efanga.
News Panorama. Capture the larger scale.
If you have just tuned in, you are watching News Panorama. The Nigerian Naira has experienced fluctuations in its exchange rates in recent months, reflecting the uncertainties and challenges faced by the Nigerian economy due to the various factors such as global economic downturn, political instability, and fluctuations in oil prices. The exchange rate of the Naira has been unstable. Blessing Basi brings details, the report.
In the current economic state, the exchange rate of the Nigerian Naira continues to fluctuate, causing concern among the citizens at the rate $1 compared to 1,396.7 Naira. This has resulted in a decrease in purchasing power and a general feeling of insecurity about the future financial stability of the state and nation at large. In an interview with respondents, many expressed worry over the varying rate of the Naira and its impact on their daily lives.
The current exchange rate is so high that and so disappointing that the poor, the students find it so hard. Students that are not staying in the hostel, students that are not staying close to the school find it so hard to get to school. So I really like the government to look into the Naira exchange rate of this country. It seems our Naira doesn't have value.
The instability of the Naira's value has created uncertainties and challenges for individuals trying to budget and plan their expenses. Meanwhile, some respondents highlighted specific areas where the fluctuating exchange rate has had a more pronounced impact on their lives too.
Affecting the economy very bad, and at some point actually being a very benefit to others gaining from it, which has much more profit from the dollar market, the forex traders and the Bitcoin traders. So it doesn't affect them because they are earning profit. Anything the government wants to try to eradicate, the fuel subsidy, understand, will be based on the costs of the high inflation in the market. So,
and why the Naira is doesn't have value because we are depending in foreign goods. We do not have industry, we don't have factories here. I think the government should see how they can create maybe industries and job opportunities should be given. So the government should try, at least they do one or two things, see how they put one or two things in order to help and make things, the price of things should come down so that life can be easy.
The value of our Naira is drastically depreciating. And when you look at its sisters in our West African states, you realize that what we used to have, the rate, the output we used to have, is no longer sustainable. And I can trace that fact to one particular thing, because we've lost in our agricultural sector. So if we don't go back to our agriculture to see that production is more than consumption, our Naira will continue to depreciate.
Everything we want to do has to be foreign things. And that's why Nigerian currency has fallen so low. So I believe that the government should work hand in hand in other bodies to make sure that Nigerian currency rise back to its normal stand.
From increased prices of imported goods to difficulties in conducting international transactions, the implications of the Naira's instability are felt across various sectors. As the exchange rate continues to be a cause for concern, it is evident that measures need to be taken to address this issue and improve the overall economic stability for the well-being of the citizens. For CRBC News Panorama, Blessing Basi reporting.
Street children represent a vulnerable segment of the society, often excluded from stable family environments while facing the harsh realities of homelessness and social exclusion. These vulnerable children confront multiple challenges like poverty, exploitation, limited access to education and healthcare services, and exposure to vices. Recognizing dignity and rights of every child, the State House of Assembly passed a motion to reunite street children with their families. Ifeanyi Ekpeita brings details, the report.
The issue of street children is a pressing concern in many communities around the world. These vulnerable children often find themselves disconnected from their families due to various reasons such as poverty, family conflict, or the loss of parents. Without the support and protection of a stable family environment, they are exposed to numerous challenges such as poverty, abuse, neglect, and exploitation. The harsh realities of street life forces them to fend for themselves at a young age, robbing them of their innocence and childhood dreams. However, efforts to reunite street children with their families brings a glimmer of hope and a chance for a brighter future. This is important because it helps solve the problem of children not having homes, as well as reduce the rates of street crimes in the society, while also promoting the children's rights. Speaking in an interview, Barrister Ekpenyong Akiba and Apostle Steve Umo commended the efforts of the wife of the governor, Reverend Mrs. Ayowan Otu, in taking the street children out from the streets back to their homes.
Your Excellency has on our own blueprint taking out the children from the streets. It's one of our mandates which have been privileged to understudy. For those that are still available for education, they will give an opportunity to go to school.
It's a nice cause to carry out. Reuniting them back will always bring responsibility in them, and most so give a sense of belonging. Government will cite in the aspect of education and make sure to give them free education, maybe from primary, nursery, taking them to secondary school level. Then at the same time, try to bring vocational skills.
Some Crossriverians also praised the move, stating that it was a welcome development.
It's a welcome development from the side of the government, if they have remembered the street children today. It has been like a cancer in the street because of what these children go through. Those children are not witches. They are just victims of circumstances.
It is a good one because of recent we have a lot of children in the street doing nothing. So if the government have come up with a program to take them off the street, it's perfect. We pray for this kind of government and even better government to come so that we'll have less children in the street.
It's good for the government to do so. If the government can have the interest of the children, come to say these children roaming about the street, they have parents, they find ways to bring the children, put question to them, where they come from and where they live. And then
on their part, the street children had various opinions on the development, with some happy to go home and others requesting for free education instead.
Governor send me to school. Governor, I want me to learn me mechanic and driver. Governor, if you send me, I go benefit, I will do them. Governor, if you carry me to go, me, my mama and papa will go.
Reuniting street children with their families is crucial for their well-being in future. By bringing them back into supportive family environment, we give them the love, care, and stability they need to thrive. This not only benefits the children, but also contributes to stronger, more compassionate communities. It's a step towards addressing the issue of child homelessness and ensuring that every child has a chance to grow up in a safe and nurturing environment. For CRBC News Panorama, Ifeanyi Ekpeita reporting.
Constant electricity supply is a necessity that cannot be overemphasized, especially with regards to the economy of the state. This is due to the fact that most businesses rely on power supply to carry out their day-to-day activities, and lack of which can greatly affect the output of businesses, thereby affecting the state economy. Abigail Basi in this report tells us more on the effects of power supply on the state economy. The report.
Electricity remains an unrivaled developmental catalyst of any nation. Its usefulness in the day-to-day running of economically relevant activities cannot be overemphasized. Unfortunately, this essential catalyst has over the years in Nigeria been neutralized, rendering it almost inefficient to trigger economic expansion. The power sector vis-a-vis electricity generation, transmission and distribution has suffered substantial neglect, culminating in grossly inadequate supply of the essential amenities to serve both household and industrial needs. With the abundant human and natural resources the country is blessed with, it becomes paradoxical that after 100 years of existence, Nigeria has still not gotten it right in terms of electric power sufficiency. In Cross River State, some areas in Calabar South has lacked power supply for years as a result of either lack of transformers or vandalized transformers. These residents of Palm Street Extension and other residents in Calabar Metropolis appeal to the state government through the Ministry of Power and Renewable Energy to come to their aid as their area has lacked electricity supply for many years.
Lack of electricity is a hindrance of most of working business in the state because electricity are not going regular as it's supposed to. In those days, people with electricity, they use it to make all sorts of businesses. But tonight, they are using electricity to start the engine. They are using fuel. They are using electricity in the industry. So many industries are being functioned by electricity, but lack of electricity impaired the growth of industry in our state.
In an interaction with some business owners in affected areas, they say lack of power supply has rendered their business dormant as they presently cannot afford to fuel their generators consistently due to the higher cost of petrol.
Where I stay, there's no electricity where I stay except if we use our generator and other source of light. But NEPA that we commonly know, we don't have light in our area, and that has been making things expensive for my customers because I want to make gain from me buying fuel, and it also affects me because customers will come and price me and so, and I won't make a lot of sales and I won't make a lot of sales. So it affects the customers and also affects me too because they are not coming as they're supposed to come because my services are becoming expensive.
One, if you are operating a business and that business is power dependent, like those who are selling mineral that they need fresh at least to cool the drinks. So if they buy fuel at the rate it is sold now, so the price of their product would likely go up. Not even likely, it's certainly that they will increase the price so that they have to recover their capital and also make their gains.
These ones say they look forward to reliable and affordable power supply in the state and country at large.
It's by giving out constant lights, steady lights, and then they should work on the bill they are giving. Because now, like in my area, we don't have lights. Before you see light, it's once in a blue mood. When there's no steady lights, you understand that it's affecting us, especially in the businesses. Investors still affecting us seriously. So if they can improve the economy by giving us steady light, let there be light. As like if you don't have money, you have food, have cold water to drink. If you cook food, you can preserve in the fridge. That's okay.
For CRBC News Panorama, I am Abigail Basi.
Muslims all over the world mark their yearly Eid el Fitri celebration as a breakfast. Moreover, our correspondent makes a survey on market prices of ram compared to last year. The report.
Marking the end of the long month dawn to sunset fasting of Ramadan, the Islamic faithfuls all around the world celebrate their Eid el Fitri, which is a period to reflect and show kindness, love to one another, as well as seek forgiveness and encourage each other.
Annabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam yake cewa wanda ya tsayuwan watan Ramadan yana mai imani yana mai kuma yin sa don neman lada Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala zai gafarta masa. So muna roƙon ubangiji Allah ya gafarta mana kuma Allah ya sa muna cikin waɗanda suka dace a cikin wannan Ramadan.
Marking the end of the holy month of Ramadan with prayer, reunions with families and friends with treats and eating of rams, Mr. Abdul enlightened us on the comparison of rams sold within last year and this year. He added that though the Ramadan celebration is not basically for eating of rams, but of course there is a slight change in demand.
In short, the cost of ram here is very high than last year. You see a small ram of 50,000 last year. This year they are selling it 150. So if you look, the gap is too much. So things this year is very hard. It's very, very hard. But we thank God we have done our salah in a very successful way without any problem.
Definitely it must be higher than last year given the economic situation of the country. This issue of exchange, every Nigerian now seems to attach his business to dollar. Why it's not supposed to be so? We are supposed to look inward and then look at our brothers. It's not as if because the economic is bad, you want to use the opportunity, to increase price in commodities, which is very bad.
It was the same news panorama.
According to the 2019 survey by the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, 30% of Nigerian women have experienced physical violence, while 68% has encountered emotional, economic, and sexual abuse. These alarming statistics have caused a lot of worry, as the menace has not only hindered progress, but also left countless women and children traumatized. Victory John tells us more on the impact of domestic violence, the report.
Domestic abuse, also called domestic violence or intimate partner violence, is a pattern of behavior in any relationship that is used to gain or maintain power and control over an intimate partner. Abuse is physical, sexual, emotional, economic, or psychological actions or threats of actions that influence another person. This includes any behavior that frightens, intimidates, terrorizes, manipulates, hurts, humiliates, blame, injure, or wound someone. This abuse can happen to anyone of any race, age, sexual orientation, religion, or gender. It can occur within a range of relationships, including couples who are married, living together, or dating. Domestic violence affects people of all socio-economic backgrounds and education levels. It can be mental, physical, economic, or sexual in nature. Incidents are rarely isolated and usually escalate in frequency and severity. Domestic abuse may culminate in serious physical injury or death. Domestic violence do not only affect those who are abused, but also has a substantial effect on family members, friends, co-workers, and other witnesses in the community at large. Children who grew up witnessing domestic violence are among those seriously affected by this crime. Frequent exposure to violence in the home do not only predisposes children to numerous social and physical problems, but also teaches them that violence is a normal way of life, therefore increasing their risk of becoming society's next generation of victims and abusers.
Domestic violence, first, it's not a good thing in the first place because it goes a long way to spoil so many things. It goes a long way to bring scars in the mind and even physical scars on the victim.
People who experience domestic violence can also have mental disorder like depression, substance use disorder, asthma, so on and so forth.
Some respondents pointed out that victims of domestic violence are generally violent due to their environment.
Their mental is always affected in that sometimes they are depressed, sometimes they feel they are very hyperactive, depending on the environment they find themselves.
Advising victims of domestic violence, this group of people advise people to flee immediately from such relationships for their overall well-being.
Depend the relationship that you have with the person. Like some of us, you get married to a man, you don't know that at the end, that is how it should be, the outcome of the relationship will be. Maybe from the starting, you'll be enjoying the marriage. At the end, maybe when you get one issue, you see the man start changing. My advice for those facing, I just think is prayers. Pray. Maybe one day the man will change.
Most of the thing that causes this is when you're having a woman that is not a working class wife. So I think it's an advice for women to also be engaged in all this job and other things that will bring funds. I think your husband will respect them.
For CRBC News Panorama, I am Victory John reporting.
That is all we have on our lineup this week. We hope to be back same time next week. Do keep a date with us. I am Josephine Efanga.